Hi guys, this is part 2 to the knife rebuild that we're going to do. This is the part where we're going to make the sheath for this knife here, the one that we rebuilt, a couple days ago or so. And basically I'm going to make a sheath like this. And I don't know exactly what they call these kind of sheaths. I consider them like a plain style sheath. And this is the one I like. It's pretty hardcore, and I like it because it's multi-purpose too. As far as sheaths go, you can kind of wear it this way because the actual belt goes through this slot in the sheath, and I like that because you can wear it this way, you can wear it this way, you can put it over here, you can flip it over upside down, flip it this way, you can put it on your back, and I mean you can wear it straight up and down, or you can slant it either way you want. It's just really multi-purpose. And when you're walking out around in the woods and you don't need your knife, you can always put it around the back on your belt, and it's out of the way and you pretty much forget about it. But if you're gonna you're gonna use it, you're gonna need it, you put it in the front or the side, and it's there whenever you need it. Another great thing about this is when you sit down, this sheath sort of moves with the belt, so you're never really sitting on your sheath, which is great because a lot of times we'll ladder stand hunt or whatever, and if I have this on me, then it stays out of the way. Another good thing about this is like me, if you wear a quiver, when I go archery hunting, I wear a plain style quiver, and I can slide this right onto the quiver too, and it's out of the way. So it's just it's a nice design. I like this design. There's a reason that they used this design back in the old days, and it's because it's multi-purpose and you can do many different things with it. But anyways, this is the sheath that I'm going to build for this knife right here, and also I'm going to make another one for this old hickory knife. And the reason I want to make them for these two knives is because these two knives are going to be my new in the field knives almost all the time. I'm still going to carry my go-to knife, but these two are going to be ones that I want to really do some testing with and stuff. I mean, the old hickory one I know is going to perform pretty well. I've used it for a long time now. This one here is brand new to me, and I've got really high hopes for it. It's just another old butcher knife too. It's a no-name, but this isn't a knife video, so I don't want to go over these knives too much yet. Anyways, let me get a couple pieces of leather out and I will get back with you. Okay guys, I'm back with you again. Basically I know that I want the sheath to be this big. It will be the exact same size as this. The only difference is that the other knives will fit in a little bit farther. They'll go in probably into about there, rather than hanging out a little bit more than this one did, which I like. I mean, this is fine because it's got a blade that's another 1.5 inches or so longer, so this is fine for this knife. But anyways, so I'm going to use this sheath as a pattern, and the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to set this on here just like this, bring it down to where I know I got enough stock, and I'm going to put a line right about here, so I know that I can cut this off right across here somewhere. And then I also know that if I take this and I roll it over like so, that I can put another line over here and cut that off, and that would get me to a little smaller size. And then I also know that I can put a line around here and roll this like so, and then come back around and roll the other side. But really I'm only going to cut one side, then I'm going to bend this piece and match up the other side to it. So anyways, I got my line, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this up here, cut this off down here, and roll this one side, and we'll see what we come up with after that. So just hold on for a few minutes and I'll do a little cutting. I'm going to be cutting this with a pair of really good scissors. These are titanium scissors, And I also have, for the straight sections, well, it's somewhere around here. Here it is. I just keep a nice little box cutter type razor knife, and it seems to work pretty good for that. But okay, let me get back to you and I will cut this out. Okay guys, so basically I got my straight line right here, and I just take my box cutter, open it up, and follow that right down the straight line. And right now I'm just trying to get it close. Nothing has to be perfect, and you just cut it off. The razor knife actually makes a really nice clean cut, and that's a plus. And then I want to get rid of this, so I'm going to put a nice straight line down here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut it off. I got to find myself a straight edge first, so I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I got this piece of pine. That'll work just fine for a straight edge. Nothing has to be absolutely perfect when it comes to this stuff. I'll take my pencil and I'll put a really good mark on here and run it back and forth real good. And then I will set the pencil aside, get the razor knife out again, and I'm working on top of this stump. And I will just take the razor knife and make another cut into here, just like so, following that thing. Might have to go through it twice, no big deal. And you're done with that. Now I have a piece of leather that's approximately the size that I need it. So now I'll take the knife I'm going to use and put it in here and just sort of fold this over. This can be a little tricky sometimes because sometimes this leather is very stiff, and this is a really thick, good piece of leather, so it's going to be a little stiff. And I just kind of use my hands and I work it until it folds on itself. And after you work it a little bit, usually it'll kind of stay a little bit. And then you can take your knife and you can just sort of put it in there like so, and figure out about how big you want it. And see, that right there is plenty big enough. I mean, that sheath doesn't even have to be that big, but that'll work just fine. And if you notice, I got a little bit off here. I'll probably just round this a little bit, no big deal. So maybe I'll do that right now. And to do that, all I do is take a pair of scissors and just kind of go around both of these. And you can always touch this up afterwards with the scissors. And actually a little trick that I learned, and I don't know if it's the right way to do it, I'm not really a leather worker, but I have a sander on my drill press. A lot of times I'll just take these edges and just sand them with the drum sander, and it kind of smooths them out kind of nice. And you know, like I said, I'm not really a leather worker, so I could be doing it wrong. I don't know, but it is what it is. So the next thing I want to do is figure out where I want to, how far into here I want the knife to go, and then give myself enough room so that I can round this off. And I still want to put a welt, which is another piece of leather, down the inside of here. That way when I sew this together and this knife goes in here, it's never going to hit the threads. So that'll be the next thing I do. So let me get right back to you. Okay guys, so I took this other sheath and I laid it across the top of the knife sheath across the top of the piece of leather like this, and then I just took my pencil and ran it around there just like this to give me the roundness I want for the end of that sheath. So now I'm just going to take my pair of scissors and cut that out, and I'll get right back to you with that. Okay guys, so I took my piece of straight edge and I went ahead and cut that out right around there. It's a rough cut. It's going to need some finish cutting, but it'll get me to where I need to be for right now. And then all I got to do is kind of fold this really good. And whenever I'm doing this, I'm still grabbing the knife every once in a while and checking it to make sure it's where I want it to be and all that good stuff, because you don't want to sew this thing together and then find out that it's too small. I've done that before, and that's kind of a sucky setup. So anyways, so now that I have it about where I want it, I'm going to take it and I'm going to really press on it and really get it to fold down, and I'll probably take a couple clamps and clamp this in place so it stays the same. So let me gather up some clamps and I'll show you what I mean. Okay guys, so I've been sitting here kind of working this for a while now, and I can kind of hold it flat pretty much just with my hands. So the next thing I do is I got this little ice pick and I use it for an awl, and what I'll do is I'll hold it like this and I'll start up here and work my way down, putting little holes in it with this ice pick, so because I actually hand sew all my stuff. So I'll run down through here and put little holes in there, and it all depends on you and how you want to do it. This is pretty thick leather, so I could probably hold them pretty close to the edge, but I'm probably going to hold them in about 3/16 in from the edge, and approximately 1/8 inch to 3/16 apart. You know, I mean, I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not like going around there measuring it or anything. I don't even have the tools to measure it. I mean, I know a lot of them guys have those little things, they just run them down the edge and it automatically marks out the little spots. I don't own one. Probably never will, because I don't do enough leather work to probably warrant one. But anyways, so that's what I'll do next, is I'll just go down along here, and one at a time I will pick a spot and put a spot in it. And then I'll go down again another, say 1/8 of an inch, and do another spot. And I don't know if you guys can see that or not. So let's zoom in a little bit. So here I am right here. So what I'll do is I'll make sure I got this relatively even right along here, and then I'll put it down on my wooden stump like so, and then I will just come here and I will put a spot here, and I know that's where I want my stitching, so I'll just put a little spot. Then I'll move down like, say, 1/8 inch or so, keeping it the same distance from the edge and everything else, and I'll put another spot. And then I'll do it again, and I'll put another spot, and I'll just keep working my way down this piece of leather until I get a few of these in. Sometimes I'll do the whole thing, and I just keep running down along here just like so until I get some in. And at this point, if I wanted to make it a little easier on myself, I could always take, I'm going to use ribbits in this sheath too, I can always take a ribbit and like put it right up here on the inside of the threads, and that'll help hold it down too. But anyways, I'll just keep running down along here for right now until I get them basically where I want them. And then I'll go back through, and sometimes I'll take a hammer and just tap it with a hammer straight down. Sometimes I just use the palm of my hand and just tap it down until I go all the way down until it makes a little spot on the back side. It didn't do it there, so that means you got to go a little harder. So that's what I'll just hit it real good. Like I said, sometimes I use a hammer too, until it makes a spot on the back side, which it did right there. That's the back side. So then you can flip it over after you get that far, and you can take your awl and just open that hole up on the back side too. Now it's easier to put your needle through it, and I'll do that all the way along this whole thing. So let me do that for a few minutes and I'll get right back to you. Okay guys, this video is taking a really long time, so I'm going to stop here and call this the next part, and then we will get back to another part here in a second. Okay, thank you.